Hello from the studio. It's that time of the week again when we get to come together to make some beautiful art.
And for this easy parrot painting, we will need some white, red, yellow, blue, and black. To save ourselves some time and some energy, we're going to pre-mix our colors. We'll start by taking our blue and yellow to make our green for the parrot. And we'll mix those two together. And then you can add a little bit more blue to make a darker green. We'll also take some yellow and a little touch of red to make the orange for his beak. And we'll add some yellow in to make a darker yellowy color. We'll take some white and we'll take some blue, mix that together to make a nice bright blue for some of his feathers. And to make a very dark green, we can take our blue, our yellow, and a little tiny touch of the black. This will give us some good colors just to start with. I'm going to make a simple sketch now using some diluted ivory black. And we'll start with an oval shape for the head. Now we're painting on some toned paper, and there is a link in the description box showing you how to make some if you'd like to make some of your own. So we'll just extend the line down to make the outline of his body, and then for his beak maybe like a triangle shape, and then just bring that down to halfway down his body and then join it up to make the beak. This is just a rough sketch for this quick project. Working on paper helps us to produce quick studies like this one, which would be a perfect weekend project. I also find that working on paper is a good way to practice techniques without worrying about failing or ruining an expensive canvas. And then for his claw, we might just put in a little rectangle to start with and a little cylinder shape for his leg. We're going to take a minute or so to block in the parrot now, and we're going to block in mostly green. And I'm using nice quick brush strokes, and I'm trying to keep my stroke going in the same direction that the feathers would grow. You'll also notice that I'm using a nice big brush for this, so it goes nice and quickly. Now to paint his beak, we're going to take our orange, and then while you've still got some of that orange on the brush, if you add a little bit of red to it and a little bit of green, it'll make a brown color which will be perfect for his cracker. Now we can take some of our bright blue and block in his wings, And then if you add a little bit of white and black to that blue, you'll make a nice mid-tone grey, which would be good for his claw. Now that our base tones have been laid down, we can go in with the darker green, and this will give the body more form, make him look more 3D. We'll also add a little bit of that dark green underneath his cracker to indicate a shadow in that area. You might also notice that I'm using quick brush strokes again, and even if there's little gaps in between, that's fine because it's a more realistic look for feathers. We can add a bit more yellow to our light green now to make a lighter tone, and we'll paint that on the right hand side of his head to indicate that the light would be coming in from that direction. I'm also just going to work those two colors together just so that they blend smoothly into each other and there's not a sharp line between the light green and the middle green. We're going to add some definition to his beak now. We're going to add some cadmium red into the orange at the top, but we're going to leave a little gap around the edges. And then we'll add some of that lighter yellow mix to the bottom of his beak and work the two colors together. We'll also add a nice light yellow down the right hand side of his beak where the sunshine would hit it. We're going to take some black now and fill in the darkest tones. That's in his eye, his wings, and at the top of his beak. We can take a nice dry clean brush now and do some softening. And while we're doing that, please could I ask, if you're enjoying this video, would you give it a thumbs up? And that will help this channel to grow. We're going to take some black now and paint in his claw, and then while the brush has still got some black on it, we'll just add some little dots here and there on the cracker to indicate the darker areas in that. We're going to add some white to our yellow now and add in some light parts to his beak and also to the top of his cracker. And then we'll add white to our black to make a lighter grey to add the light parts to his claw. And we can also add a little lighter area to one side of his eye. We're going to add some blue, green and red to his wings because this is an eclectus parrot and they're very colourful. Now we've only got a couple of minutes left, so we'll get into some finishing touches. We'll add some light yellow to finish off his beak, and then we'll put some grey just to finish off his claw and some black for his talons. We're going to go in with our white now, add a few highlights here and there, and that will finish it off. This beautiful eclectus parrot actually belongs to a friend of mine, and I'd like to thank Sarah for the use of her photo. This is her pet called Conrad, and I've enjoyed painting Conrad's study so much that I'm actually going to continue with this study later in this week and develop it into a full painting. And if you'd like to see a copy of that painting, hang around to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching and for following along. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And I'll see you in the next video.